I sank into the chair beside them, crossing my legs as my fingertips brushed the edge of my glass. They began to move together, uncertain at first, then slipping into sync. A gasp escaped her lips as his hands guided her, every touch measured, intentional. I let out a slow breath, heat pooling low in my stomach as I watched. I'd meant to keep my distance, but the longer I sat there, the more the ache between my thighs grew impossible to ignore. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel so much. And if you're already one of us, thank you for being here. Now, let's dive in. God, I barely remember what it's like to be with a man, she sighed, melting into the couch. I chuckled, swirling my wine. That's tragic on a cosmic level. She groaned. It is. Months, maybe a year. I've lost count. Couldn't be me, I said, shaking my head. I'd last a week tops before climbing my husband like a tree. She rolled her eyes. Yes, we all know you hit the jackpot. I smirked. Damn right. The man's a virtuoso. A long exhale slipped from her. Must be nice. I studied her, the hollows under her eyes, the slump of her shoulders. This wasn't just loneliness. It was hunger. Maybe that's the issue, I mused. She frowned. What issue? I leaned closer. You blame the divorce, but what if you're just starved for someone who knows how to really take care of you? Her head jerked up, eyes wide. Excuse me. I sipped my wine, letting the silence simmer. You wouldn't need to hunt if dinner was served to you. She blinked. What's that supposed to mean? I held her gaze, then dropped the words like a match. What if I shared mine? Her breath stuttered. You're joking. I only smiled. Later that evening, we lay tangled in the sheets, skin slick, bodies humming with spent pleasure. I traced idle circles over his chest, savoring the aftershocks only he could draw from me. Incredible, I murmured. He smirked, drowsy-eyed. Always. I let the quiet stretch, then dropped it like a stone. She needs this. His brow furrowed. Who? My friend. I propped myself up on an elbow. She's drowning in loneliness. Needs to remember what it's like to be wanted. He stilled. You're not saying. My nails dragged down his abdomen, feeling his breath catch. You could show her. Jesus, you're serious. He scrubbed a hand over his face. I pressed my lips to his stubbled jaw. I'd be right there. Every step. His hesitation was palpable, but so was the flicker of interest. You trust me, don't you? His grip tightened on my hip. I already knew I'd won. The next morning, I handed him coffee as he shuffled into the kitchen. Invite her over, I said. He squinted. To talk. I arched a brow. Among other things. A pause. Then a rough exhale. But he didn't refuse. Good enough. My phone buzzed instantly after I texted her. Sure. I could use the distraction. When she arrived, exhaustion clung to her, but her gaze was sharper now, curious. We settled with coffee, and I let the tension build before tilting my head. Still thinking about our chat? A wary glance. Maybe. I smiled. What if it wasn't just talk? Her throat bobbed as I slid my hand up my husband's arm. Her eyes darted between us. We want to help, I said. You're serious? Her lashes fluttered, disbelief flickering across her face. I didn't blink. Deadly. She swallowed hard, her eyes darting from me to him and back again, probing for hesitation, for doubt. I kept my gaze steady, unflinching. You trust me, don't you? The silence stretched. Then, with a slow exhale, she set her coffee cup down. What are you proposing? My lips curved. Let me demonstrate. I guided them toward the bedroom, my breaths even, my heartbeat a lazy drumbeat under my ribs, but beneath the calm, fire licked through my veins. She trailed behind, steps tentative, her uncertainty palpable. My husband followed with a different kind of tension, his posture coiled, like he was still untangling the reality of what came next. I knew this dance by heart. Turning to him first, I skimmed my palms down his torso, peeling his shirt away with practiced ease. His breath hitched. His muscles tensed under my touch. Then I faced her. She stood frozen, caught between want and wariness, her lips slightly parted, waiting. I smiled and closed the distance, my hands gliding over her shoulders, teasing the hem of her top. When she didn't resist, I took my time. Fabric whispered to the floor. Then more. The air thickened. My husband reached for her, his movements deliberate, his touch firm despite the hesitation lingering in his grip. She shuddered, leaning into him, letting him steer her toward the bed. I retreated to the chair in the corner, sinking into it, content, for now, to observe. And what a sight they were. The way his hands learned her, the way her body arched into every stroke, every graze. The soft, broken sounds spilling from her lips. I crossed my legs, the pressure stoking the heat between my thighs. This was what I'd craved, to see him unravel her, to watch her come undone under his hands. His mouth traveled down her throat, lower, his fingers mapping the dip of her waist, the flare of her hips. She gasped, back bowing as he took his time, as he savored. I shifted, thighs pressing together, my own breath turning ragged. The hem of my dress rode higher as my fingertips traced idle patterns along my skin, the ache building with every sigh she let slip. Just like that, I murmured, voice husky. Don't rush her. He obeyed, his lips blazing a trail across her collarbone, down her sternum, worshipping every inch. She melted beneath him, fingers tangling in his hair, a moan trembling on her tongue. I dragged a nail along my inner thigh, the sting of pleasure sharp and sweet. God, they were breathtaking. Him, all controlled strength. Her, yielding, yet electric with need. Together, they were a live wire. I circled my fingers over the slick heat beneath my dress, mirroring their rhythm, my own hunger mounting. His hands slid lower, wrenching a choked whimper from her. Her nails bit into his shoulders, her body trembling. Do you like how he touches you? I asked, tone velvet dark. She didn't answer, not with words. But the way her breath fractured, the way her hips lifted to meet him, that was confession enough. The room filled with the symphony of their bodies, the slick slide of skin, the ragged breaths, the low, hungry murmurs. I'd thought I could stay here, just watching, just tasting the second-hand pleasure. But as the tension wound tighter, as her cries pitched higher, a realization seared through me. I wasn't just restless. I was ravenous. And the sidelines? I wouldn't last another minute. The heat inside me had become unbearable, a slow, simmering fire that licked at my self-control. Every stolen glance, every ragged breath, every whispered moan echoing through the room chipped away at my resolve. The sidelines no longer held any appeal. I needed to be part of this. Rising from the chair, I closed the distance between us, my fingers trailing along my husband's arm. His breath stuttered, his dark eyes locking onto mine, unreadable yet burning. She turned as well, her expression a mix of uncertainty and raw hunger. A slow, knowing smile curved my lips. Move up, I murmured, threading my fingers through his hair and guiding him back against the pillows. He obeyed without hesitation, his chest rising and falling rapidly, muscles taut beneath my touch. Then I turned to her. Come here. My voice was low, thick with promise. She hesitated, her breath uneven, but then she yielded, shifting into place against him, their bodies molding together as his hands steadied her hips. I watched, mesmerized by the way they moved, the silent understanding between them, the electricity crackling in the air. Then I joined them, climbing onto the bed and positioning myself above him, my palms resting on his shoulders. His exhale was warm against my skin, sending a shiver down my spine. Leaning forward, I brushed my hands along her arms, guiding her. Just like that, I whispered against her lips, tilting her chin toward me. Let me show you. Her breath hitched as I closed the distance between us, my mouth capturing hers. She melted into the kiss, her fingers curling into my waist, surrendering to my lead. I deepened it, my hands sliding to her hips, setting a rhythm she eagerly followed. Our breaths tangled, our bodies moving in sync. Beneath me, my husband groaned, his fingers digging into my back as he pulled me closer. A sharp jolt of pleasure shot through me, drawing a gasp from my lips. I knotted my fingers in her hair, tilting her head to take the kiss deeper. The softness of her skin, the way she arched into my touch, it only stoked the fire inside me higher. The tension coiled tighter, sharper, until we were all teetering on the edge. Her breaths turned ragged, her grip on me tightening. My husband's hands flexed against my skin, his body rigid beneath us. It was overwhelming, the energy between us, the heat, the need, until finally, it shattered. Pleasure crashed over me in waves, my body trembling, my breaths coming in short, broken gasps. I felt them unravel around me, the intensity of the moment saturating the air, leaving us all spent and breathless. For a long while, none of us moved. The room was thick with the scent of sweat and satisfaction, our limbs tangled, our hearts still racing. Eventually, I collapsed onto the mattress, stretching lazily, a slow, sated smile playing on my lips. She let out a breathless laugh, pushing disheveled hair from her face. My husband exhaled deeply, his arm draping over my waist in a possessive hold, even in the aftermath. I glanced between them, my pulse still unsteady. This had started as a gift for her, a way to give her what she needed. But now, as the morning light spilled over the sheets, painting our tangled bodies in gold, I realized the truth. I had loved every second of it. And if the way her fingers absently traced my skin was any indication, this wouldn't be the last time.